Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome to my channel Beyond Headlines, Current Affairs Election. Our topic today is the Gen-z protests in Nepal that's happening here and now, the causes, the consequences and how the situation is unfolding. So, as we look through our news channels, as we surf through our news channels, the one thing that comes in common in all news channels is the Nepal protests. So, what triggered the protests and why there is huge participation of people in this protest and how this can be resolved? So, these are things that we are going to discuss today in our topic. The first thing is this protest started in yesterday, actually, September 8th, where huge protests, huge gatherings of protesters came to protest before the parliament and in Kathmandu. That's the place called as Mighty Gar Mandala, where they wanted to stage a protest. And they tried to attack the parliament and they were severely suppressed by the security forces who actually used water cannons, rubber bullets, tear gas shells, and in the end, live ammunition to disperse them. And in this process, at least 19 people died yesterday and 300 people were injured. And this gave more trigger to the people who are already protesting. So why this happened? Because this happened because Nepal government has imposed a ban on social media apps and platforms, then they fail to uh, comply with the rules and regulations of the country, that is Nepal. So, and all the apps like, as you can see, Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, LinkedIn, Signal, X, and Snapchat, these apps and online platforms were banned. And when the ban was implemented immediately, there's huge disturbance that caused in the society, which made people rise against the government. So, and they were so frustrated. The frustration was already building up on the corruption that is prevailing in the government and the show of wealth by the government officials and the ministers and the plight of the common man in Nepal. So there was all these things that was building up, and the last straw is actually the ban on the social media. And so they protested vehemently, severely, and they went to the extent of burning things. Like today, the parliament was burned, and many houses of the ministers and the government officials were either burned down or vandalized. So, in this process, yesterday, the Home Minister for Nepal, Mr. Ramesh Lekhat, has tendered his resignation, claiming moral responsibility for the incidents that happened yesterday. And today, if you look at it, the Prime Minister himself, KP Sharma, only resigned, and Mr. Ramchandra Paudel also left the country. And Mr. Sharma has been taken to a safe place where he is kept safe. So this is the unfolding of the events, and the protests were mainly focused in Kathmandu, but it spread to other places also, and the protesters gave a call to come and join the protests for all. So, and it is called Genz because it is the students and the young citizens who are participating in this, who are motivating people to participate in this. Okay, so and across the world also there have been protests on ban of social media, but not to this extent, because the ban on social media is only a trigger here, but there are other underlying causes. And in this process of setting fire and vandalizing things, Sher Bahadur Dubey's house was also attacked. His wife Arzu Dubey and was injured. And another former Prime Minister, Jalla Nath Khansi, he was also injured, and his wife died actually in the fire. Rajalakshmi Chitrakar died in the fire set by the protesters. So the vandalism and the setting up a fire is happening still, and the protesters attacked many places, and they all flocked to the airport to make sure that nobody is escaping to other countries, and the ministers and other guys are staying within the country. And the situation is kind of completely out of control wherein the police are not able to control. And now the army has taken control of the whole situation and trying to appeal to the people to stay calm so that they can bring things under control. So, and their slogan was like end corruption, end old people's rule, let new people take up the roles so that they can bring young blood into politics. Those kind of slogans were raised. And in this context, the flag of One Piece, the Japanese manga series, the Straw Hat Pirates, Jolly Roger flag, this flag was displayed in some of the protests that were carried down by the protesters. And yeah, that flag symbolizes destruction of democratic freedoms, which these guys are literally fighting for. They want that democratic freedom. So that flag is a symbolic of the courage that is expressed for fighting against the destruction of democratic freedoms. So that itself is another difference. And these flags were actually originally displayed when there were protests in Indonesia a few weeks back. So it's kind of alarming seeing at the kind of protest that's happening. And in this context, I'd like to say a few words. The apps are banned not because of anything, but these guys, they didn't comply to the rules and regulations that are set by the Nepalese government. See, here, when you're not going to obey a country's rules and regulations, that is, you are directly uh, displaying or expressing your contempt for the tools, which is directly challenging the sovereignty of the country itself. This has to be understood. Anywhere throughout the world, all companies, MNCs work in compliance with the government. This compliance issue has not been the problem of Nepal. Even India had some problems with the compliances where they sorted it out, and even Britain had the compliance issue where they sorted it out. Almost many states, many countries in the world they have faced this issue, wherein they are able to sit and sort it out. But in Nepal, that unfortunately didn't happen, which led to the ban of the social media, which led to a trigger in the protest, and it was like a chain reaction. And another thing I want to emphasize is whatever the method of protest is, whether you're going to sit down or protest or take a rally on the roads, fine, good. In fact, good. So, but we should always keep in mind that we should never destroy public property. Destruction of public property causes loss to the citizens only. It is not a loss to the government, because at the end of the day, it is the citizens who are the taxpayers and who are going to contribute for the development of the country. And that money will be used, and sometimes there might be imposition of new taxes or collection of cess or anything else, but no government takes that loss, because it is the people who destroyed it. It is the people who have to bear the brunt. So let us keep our protests in a very peaceful way. Yeah, we have every right to protest when we are not delivered the promises that were made. So yeah, that we have to keep in mind. And our army is trying to bring situation under control, and let us see how far it will succeed. And I hope it will succeed, because the unrest in our neighborhood country will also create a kind of anxiety situation in our country also, because many people go to other countries like Nepal to study there, and the Indian government in fact has set up a helpline there for the Indian students and Indians in general who are there in Nepal. I read online a few narratives by other nationals also regarding the situation that's prevailing there, which is not so encouraging. So let us hope the situation comes under the control and conditions come under the control, and the Nepal citizens get what they protested for, a better government, a corruption-free government. And there's also this problem of nepotism. If you look at it, the causes actually are nepotism, ban on social media, and corruption in the government. These are the main causes. The only trigger was the social media ban, but otherwise these things have been there going on for a very long time. And that was the last. So that is about it. And let's hope again that situation comes under control and the protests will carry on peacefully until what they get. The goals actually, the goals they set were corruption, anti-corruption measures should be taken, and there should be accountability and transparency in the government, and also lifting the ban which has already been done. So this is it from my side regarding Nepal Gen-z protests, and let us observe what's going to unfold before us, and hopefully it will be for the betterment of Nepal, for the future citizens of Nepal, for the current citizens of Nepal, where they can see better development, better employment opportunities, and a corruption-free government. That's all for today. Please leave your opinions in the comment box. Please like channel, share the channel, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.